In our team recently, we've been doing a lot of thinking about one particular area of conversion, which is search engine results. Now, I want to take you through a little bit of research that I've been doing. Now, if you look at the graph that I've got on the screen, this is a classic shape that we normally refer to that shows the distribution of clicks against particular search engine result positions. So what it shows you is that at position number 1 you should expect about 40% of clicks. At position number 2 it goes down to about 22, something like that. And it drops off so that nearly all the clicks have been clicked on page 1. Below position number 10 on page 2 you're really down to small change when it comes to clicks on search engine results. What we take from this is the vital importance to be at the top of the search engine results for something. So there's no point then competing for a term, no matter how popular the term is, unless you can get really onto page 1 and preferably in the top 5 for any particular term. On the flip side then, what you should do is you should look for phrases for which the competition isn't too high that you can get in that top 5 for, and that really is the central point of keyword research, obviously. Now, what I wanted to do was I wanted to test whether this distribution of clicks is actually accurate. So I've done a few little tests. It took me about an hour or so today, and I want to take you through the results and then talk about some of the implications of these results. So I've been to a few different sources, all Google sources, and I wanted to find out, okay, for the last month on our website, on Web Design from Scratch, for our top 50 keywords, what happened? So here's the Google Doc where I've saved this stuff, and you can see our top 50 phrases all ranked there. Now, I'm going to take you through where I got all this data from. So the first one is number of searches per month for a particular term. Okay, and I got that from the Google AdWords Keyword Research tool. So I just literally pasted in all of these phrases, and then I got how many global monthly searches are there for each particular phrase. So Web 2.0 design, the Keyword Research tool is telling me there's 14,800 searches per month. So that's what I've put into my results. The average position comes from somewhere else. That comes from Google Webmaster Tools. So here we've got Web 2.0 design as one of my top results because we get, according to Webmaster Tools, we get 900 clicks per month from that for that phrase over the past month. And it's also telling me that the click-through rate is 36%. And the average position that we get for Web 2.0 design in Google is position 3.1, and that can change. Obviously, it can go up and down depending on where people are coming from and lots of other factors, obviously, that influence Google ranking. The next one is we've got actually 2 measures of clicks, and I was interested to compare the clicks that Webmaster Tools gives me in this list, which tends to be approximate. You can see they're all rounded to the nearest 10. Or 1 or 2 significant figures. So we've got Web 2.0 design, it tells me gets 900 clicks. The other one is actually the visits that we get for that term for Google Analytics. So here's Google Analytics, and there's my top, for all my top keywords. I do exactly the same thing, same period in time, Web 2.0 design, and that's telling me that I've had 977 visits for that exact term over the last month as well. And then there's some calculated figures, which I'm going to take you through as well. So the first thing I wanted to do was to compare these two, to compare the clicks that Google Webmaster Tools tells me with the clicks that Google Analytics tells me, just to see, can we trust Google Webmaster Tools approximate clicks or not? And if you just scan down the list, you can pretty much tell that they are pretty close. But I went in my Google Doc, this spreadsheet, I've literally just plotted one against the other. And you can see there that there's a pretty good straight line correlation between these two different sources of where the traffic comes from. There's one or two that are way out, like that one in particular. One of those sources says 170, the other says 559, but that was pretty much satisfied me. I thought, well, we can trust either source pretty much on that. So I'll go back to the data. So the next thing I wanted to do was to compare the share of clicks as a percentage of the number of searches per month that Google says that are carried out. How many of those clicks do we get? So you need to bear in mind that when you go into Google Analytics, and here I'm in traffic sources keywords, this is telling me the number of visits I've had for that exact search term, maybe with some punctuation differences, but pretty much that exact search term. Web 2.0 design, I've had 977 visits. Best designed websites, we've had 583 in the last month. So that is an exact match. That is for that exact phrase that people have typed in. So what I did is I created a new column for calculated share, which is the number of exact match visits that we got divided by the number of searches per month expressed as a percentage, because I want to see, okay, for the ones where we rank high, how close are all of those kind of positions? Do they generally tend to follow this graph? As in, if you can get to position number 1 on Google, how likely is it that you're going to get 40% of all the clicks? Or if you're down at position number 10, can you only rely on getting about 1% of the clicks? So let's look at the results. So I made another graph in my Google Doc here, and this shows the click share for different positions. So here on the left hand side is position number 1. So what you notice from this is, I'll click on that, here's one that ranks at position number 1, gets 24% of the clicks in the last month. This is at position number 1, it only gets 6.38. This one, position number 1.2, which means sometimes it's at position 2, most of the time it's in first position, gets 0.22%. But basically, generally, and there's a couple of other anomalies down here, but generally we are finding that we're following that kind of shape. So what can you take from this? From the results that we've had on our website, if you want to get over 30% of the clicks, you need to be in the top 2 positions, this is saying. And also really for over 10%. So to get over 10%, you've got to be in the top 3. So this one's averaging 2.9, gets nearly 20%. If you're outside of the top 3, as far as our real data is concerned, then you're not going to get more than 10%. But look at this one. This is down at averaging position number 17, gets nearly 10% of the clicks, which is clearly an anomaly. This one also looks like it's an anomaly, getting 5% of the clicks, but it's averaging on page 2, around about position 14. So the good news is that generally, yes, we are following this kind of pattern, but what you have to know is that there are some keywords which seem to be overperforming. So they're getting above 5% even though they're down the bottom of page 1 or even on page 2. And there are also quite a few keywords that seem to be underperforming. So looking at the graph there, for position 5, we've got results ranging from 5.7% down to 1.6%. According to this, down at position 5, we should be getting about 5% of the clicks, roughly. So that's about the best that we're getting. So really the graph here is going down like this. But we've got a big mass of results here that are underperforming compared to the graph. We've got results that are ranking at position 1, position 2, and are getting a lot less than 40% or 20% of the clicks. Now, why would that be? Well, what I'm interested in is looking at the actual click-through from the search engine results. So if we do something like best designed websites on Google, I think that one of the things that web designers overlook terribly, and I include myself in that, is the importance of how much this content here sells the click. You've got to sell the click.